It is always a healthy practice to step back and take cognizance of the year gone by and evaluate what one can learn. Urjit Patel has just finished his first year as the governor of the RBI. Within 2 months after taking over as the governor of the RBI, he was hit by one of independent India's biggest monetary policy initiatives, demonetisation. It will be foolhardy not to acknowledge the ghosts of demonetisation when evaluating the first year tenure of Urjit Patel. Regardless of whether this was a good policy or not, a policy of such magnitude was expected to be subjected to analytical rigor before a decision was made. There is no evidence that the RBI did any such analysis, which is what was expected of a scholar such as Urjit Patel. Urjit Patel's reticence post-demonetisation and the RBI's tardiness in revealing information just made things worse. There were allegations and insinuations of the independence and credibility of the Reserve Bank of India. To evaluate Urjit Patel's first year tenure as the governor of the RBI without acknowledging the impact of demonetisation would be just plain dishonesty. But let bygones be bygones. I do believe Urjit Patel still has the opportunity to etch his place in the annals of RBI's history and its illustrious list of governors. How? By ensuring that the transition to an inflation targeting regime is successful. Urjit Patel is the father of inflation targeting in India. He chaired the committee that recommended the adoption of inflation targeting as a policy benchmark for the RBI. Today, interest rates in India are set by a group of independent experts with the primary objective of keeping inflation around 4% plus or minus 2%. This is a far cry from the time when interest rates in India were determined by the whims and pressures of the governor of the RBI or the finance minister or the prime minister. We've had 6 monetary policy committee meetings thus far, but it is still too early to claim that India successfully transitioned to an inflation targeting regime. For inflation targeting to succeed, inflation expectations of households and businesses must be anchored appropriately. By RBI's own surveys, a majority of Indians still expect double-digit inflation. Expectations of inflation by Indians play an important role in determining inflation targeting policy benchmarks. Many decades of punishing double-digit inflation have subconsciously led many Indians to expect that prices will increase rapidly over the next year. This presents a big problem for the RBI in its inflation targeting goals. For inflation targeting to succeed, it is essential that Urjit Patel and the RBI help households temper their inflation expectations appropriately. This presents an opportunity for Urjit Patel and the RBI to take a leadership role and ensure that for the first time in many decades, inflation expectations of Indians and households and businesses are tempered accordingly. If he achieves this, it will pave the way for a successful transition to an inflation targeting regime for India and establish RBI as an independent, goal-oriented, objective central bank. This is the opportunity for Urjit Patel to cement his place in the annals of RBI history and its illustrious list of governors.